trial of former Health Minister Ali Insanov continued in Baku Court of Appeals. Strict security measures were in place for the trial. As in the previous hearings, Insanov was placed in a soundproof glass cage. Throughout the hearing, the judge repeatedly turned off Insanov's microphone when he was speaking about Ilham Aliyev and other senior officials. Insanov further noted that, while he was the minister, 59 properties were privatized. 32 of them were small. The rest 28 fairly large properties were privatized by the family of Aliyev. From privatization of 50,000 properties, the budget received $500,000 million, while $30 billion were appropriated by the ruling family, said Insanov. During the following court process, before getting to the soundproof cage, Ali Insanov addressed the audience from behind bars. Ilham Aliyev, you can never be the servant of nation. The servant of the nation wouldn't foray the national wealth, wouldn't eliminate intellectuals, wouldn't imprison the youth, or wouldn't prompt Karabakh war veterans to immolate themselves. You are not a friend, but the enemy of nation. Preparation of a draft law on psychological safety of information is underway in Azerbaijan. According to Rabiat Aslanova, head of the Human Rights Committee in the parliament, adoption of such a law is very important in Azerbaijan. This law will keep both the media and internet under control, whereas implementation of this law entirely is impossible. According to the deputy, although suspension of a website sounds pretty simple, indeed it's a very hard and lengthy process. Nevertheless, in order to be in line with international legal norms, Azerbaijan should also take some steps in this direction. Amendments that further restrict financing of NGOs approved by the parliament last year was signed into law by the President Ilham Aliyev. We are profoundly concerned about the recent amendments, which has a potential of serious negative effects on the work of NGOs in the country, said Georgi Gogya, expert of the Human Rights Watch. We see those amendments as part of the government's concerted efforts to restrict work of civil society organizations critical of the authorities, he added. Anar Mehmetli, head of the Election Monitoring and Democracy Studies Center, is being kept in a cold jail cell, his lawyer Rashid Hajjala reported after visiting him last weekend. He noted that because of low temperature in his cell, Anar Mehmetli had health problems, as he is very susceptible to cold. On February 11th, hearing of the complaint filed by Ganun Publishing House against the Tax Audit Department of the Ministry of Taxes was held in Baku Administrative Economic Court No. 1. According to Ganun lawyer, questioning of the witnesses was completed in this court process. The Audit Department conducted an inspection in the office of the publishing company on November 10, 2013, seizing several documents, manuscripts, and computers. The leadership of the publishing house considers the inspection and confiscation illegal. Reporters Without Borders has released a new publication titled World Press Freedom Index. Rating list includes more than 180 countries. It starts with Finland and ends with Eritrea. Azerbaijan is on the 160th place. The organization notes that TV channels in Azerbaijan are under state control. Disobedient journalists, bloggers are exposed to physical attacks and face death, intimidation, and kidnapping. In comparison, Armenia and Georgia holds 76th and 84th places. European Union High Representative Catherine Ashton and Commissioner Stefan Füle issued a joint statement expressing concern by recent amendments to NGO legislation in Azerbaijan, restricting the environment for an independent and critical civil society, especially in the field of human rights and democracy. In view of Azerbaijan's upcoming chairmanship of the Council of Europe's Committee of Ministers, the High Representative and the Commissioner call upon the Azerbaijani authorities to abide by their international commitments and to review the law on NGOs with a view to addressing the concerns formulated by the Venice Commission. On February 13th, on the eve of PAC winter session, more than 50 activists of Azerbaijani civil society addressed the members of the PAC to discuss the human rights issues in the country. The addressers drew attention to arrest of journalists, bloggers, human rights defenders, young activists, politicians with false accusations and violation of the freedom of expression, assembly and association, expressing a hope that on June 28, the annual assembly of the PAC in Baku would contribute to solution of human rights problems in Azerbaijan. The appeal contains the names of some people jailed for dubious or downrightly false reasons. The document also deals with deterioration of conditions for NGOs, referring to recent amendments presenting serious obstacles to the activity of local and foreign NGOs. The right to vote is one of the fundamental freedoms to which Azerbaijani authorities have been particularly intolerant. The electoral law has constantly deteriorated over the last 5 years. Although last year Ilham Aliyev was elected for the third term in office, a lot of local and international organizations admit that for free and fair elections, sufficient environment was not provided. OSCE ODIHR was subjected to unjustified critics, reads the appeal. In the end, the appeal calls on the PAC to demand the release of falsely accused or convicted persons, genuine protection of the freedom of expression, assembly and association, and provision of free and fair election environment in Azerbaijan ahead of the country's chairmanship in the Committee of Ministers and annual assembly of the PAC in Baku. The appeal was signed by a large group of Azerbaijani civil society members.